See, I mean, for any project to be rolled out, if you talk about the roadblocks or what things should be taken care of to roll out an L&D program, of course there are from the implementation side there are many things. Technically, the IT team, the infosec team should be in alignment because they'll be also wanting to understand what's being delivered and how, etc. What is the technology we are using, etc. So alignment of all the internal stakeholders is crucial for any success or to ensure that the roadblocks are taken care of. Also, the L&D team, of course, they should be able to let the learners know what is in it for me, why should and how and all. So all these things, of course, are of importance. Uh, Once this have been taken care of, the internal discussions, the learners have been made aware about something. What are the stages of the project? So uh, we call it as, I call it as, there are three phases of a project rollout. It is plan and align, uh, configure and engage. The plan and align is nothing. It's phase one where you plan everything, you align your business requirements, you align your learning requirements, you align your content, you align your technology partner as per your requirements. So these are all the alignments. Then you plan for the solution. So you build a solution, you build content, you do a user acceptance test that everything is working fine in terms of the platform which will deliver the content itself. If the content is mobile compliant, then a UAT on a mobile platform as well is important. So you should go through this phase one, which is plan and align. Configure is a phase where you configure the entire solution. As I said, when you say configure, it's not about having one LMS and I uploaded a SCORM course. No, that's not configuration. That's more of a setup. Configuration is the user flow. What will user see? When the user gets on the LMS or a learning experience platform, what will be the welcome flow? What will be the first time user flow? What will be the flow for a person who comes next time on the platform? So that is one thing. The user journey is what we say. Then how easy or it is difficult for a person to find a course which he or she wants to really consume, rather than being searching for it and not getting any right output. So is the platform intuitive? Is the platform letting know the person this is what you should learn? Or is it there on the face for a person to see the assigned course and just do it? So all those things are part of your configure stage. And then you go live. After you go after you've gone live, it is not end of the journey. It's actually the beginning of the journey, because from there the L&D team is required to keep the users engaged. And how do you keep the users engaged? Of course, you have to send the nudges. You have to track the usage of the course, the completion of the course. Are people coming on the platform? They're coming. Are they completing? Not completing? Are they viewing? Are they giving any comments related to the content? We should go through the content, and we should go through the comments also, because many users may not send you a direct comment, but they may comment on the content. They may say, I didn't like it, I liked it, I like this part, I didn't like that part. All these comments should be well captured, taken as a constructive feedback, and further improve upon. So uh, this is what I would suggest. These are the stages of a rollout, which is plan and align, configure and engage. So if we follow this space framework, I'm sure any program, any rollout of any program should be successful, and we can learn from each rollout. So that's what I would suggest about the rolling out of the project.
Or maybe some good practices and good features of L&D program with some of the clients, which you felt that it helped them roll out this L&D e-learning initiative successfully.
Certainly, sure. So, in fact, I would concentrate more on the good practices because I feel every company has its own process. So, saying them a roadblock is not a good thing to say. So, I would say, what are the best practices, or what are the things which our clients have done? And I can take or cite a very recent example because of this COVID situation that we are all going through. One of our clients, whose user base was 47,000 employees, they preponed the launch of their learning program rather than sticking to a late date of end of April. So, and how did they prepone? What did they do different? So first and foremost, I would always suggest that any online program which is going to have a very high visibility, you should have some executive leadership at the helm of it. It has to be one person or one or two people who are from the executive leadership team, who has the power to take decisions, and then people can follow those decisions. So the example that I am taking about is of a also very well known KPO based out of India, of course, spreading across the globe. uh, the moment COVID hit them, it was unheard of for them to work from home. In a KPO industry, you are to come to office and work in a particular fenced environment versus people working from home. Now, how do you enable this? How do you enable this shift? So they came out with this program called COVID situation. Rather, they called it as working during COVID situation. So there was a program by that name, and that program had multiple journeys. One is a journey of how do you keep yourself safe. One was about working from home effectively, and third was all about what all tools, all process you should follow be connected while working from home. Now, I'm citing this example because it's very recent. And the best practices which were deployed by them were that the moment they decided that this is the date and we should prepone the launch, they first were in alignment internally. The IT team said that yes, they had the infrastructure to support work from home. The InfoSec team reviewed the content and gave approval, a thumbs up, saying that there was nothing which would hinder any kind of private content or confidential content going out of uh, on a public network. So there was an alignment from IT, there was an alignment from InfoSec, then there was an alignment from the L&D team in terms of the target audience. Who are the target audience whom they'll first target, and then subsequently who will be the remaining people whom they'll target. So all this came into alignment. So there is one piece that I'm always saying is alignment of different teams and all being on the same page. That contributed to a confidence within the CLO that yes, all things are functioning well, and he went ahead with a launch. Now, who did the launch? It was not one. It was not an L&D team. The launch was done by the CLO himself, where he sent an email all the target audience and not all 47,000 people. It was sent to first 18,000 people, and that email from the CLO had all the necessary information, like why is this being rolled out, what is the benefit, what is it that they will learn from completing these courses, how can they do it, whom to reach out for support, and what will happen after they're done with the learning program. All these details were mentioned in that rollout email, which gave the confidence to the learners that here is the organization who is trying to help us during these testing times, enabling us to work from home, and the training in question is going to enable them to be productive rather than just a training of some subject. These programs are going to help them to work from home by being safe and still continue doing what they're doing if they were in office. So this kind of alignment, the target audience being defined, the end goal being defined would definitely help the rollout of the online training far better than which is something which is fragmented and unstructured. This is what I would like to share.
Now, my next question is that if you look at one L&D e-learning program or a project, can you delineate some of the essential features, or you may call them components, which makes up a successful e-learning package or a program itself? Like you have reflected on the necessity of a strong learning management system, in the sense that monitoring of the course, you said, and administration of the course is very important. So likewise, what are the other essential key components of a good online L&D e-learning project?
Sure, sure. See, I always go by one statement, and I always believe firmly in this statement that in the world of online training or in the world of learning, forget online training, in the world of learning, content is the king. It is the content which is going to create a recall value for the learners to come back to that delivery platform, be it be LMS or be it be any LXP. So content is the king. With that thumb rule in mind, what I believe the best practices are that nowadays, most of the target audience are the millennials. So and they like to learn uh, from the content which is more interactive. And when I say interactive, it's not about drag and drop. It's not about having a quiz. Interactive means while they're going through training, they would like to see more videos. They would like to listen to podcast, and they would like to listen to this podcast or videos coming from the authenticated sources. So the best practice with that I suggest is having a blended learning program. So wherein the SMEs within the organization should curate content from various sources. Like let's take a video from YouTube about let's say leadership or first time managers. You take a YouTube video, you follow it up by a blog, then you have internal document which is part of that journey of the learning. Then it gets followed up by a question to understand their learning. Again, there is another link to an article coming from, let's say, HBR. So this kind of blended learning assets would create the right excitement among the learners to learn from it, rather than having content which goes in a monotonous tone of clicking next, 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 and people learning from just the text they see on the screen. So that era has, I think, gone by. Now people want to learn from various sources because there is so much good content available across and also within the organization. I'm sure people who join this webinar, there are many SMEs who have joined who understand certain niche areas very well. So if they should get an opportunity to create content themselves, maybe it's a PowerPoint, maybe it's a blog. Let it be. The team should come up and plug all this together in one good learning journey and make it available to the learners. And I believe that is going to create a longer impact for the learners to learn from. And of course, the L&D team will keep a track of what's going on by the virtue of the LMS or the LXP. So that's what I would like to share.
But when it comes to content, you have been working on AI-powered content aggregation, curating and creating and to your clients. How does it help, Bhavin?
Great, great, sure. See, as far as our platform is concerned, when we say AI powered, the whole idea is that we learn, we want to learn from the behavior of the learner. So, for example, once the learner has come on board on our platform, first and foremost, the AI engine will prompt them to start with their learning goals. What is it that they want to learn? That is the first input that we take from the learner. Now, if the learner says that I want to learn about digital marketing, digital leadership, and design thinking, the AI engine takes that as an input. And then what happens is that on a daily basis, the AI engine will push content to this learner. Uh, and this content can come from many open sources. Again, as I said, there are sources which is very good content. The content will come from YouTube. The content may come from other online blogs, etc., which the learners can consume. Now, depending on the behavior of the learner, if it sees that the AI engine sees that this learner is consuming more of a blog rather than an article, it will learn from that and it will start recommending more blogs. Then suddenly what happens that the learner says, I'm done with design thinking. Let me change to aeronautics. AI engine learns from that there is a change in the learning goal, and it will start recommending more courses on or content on aeronautics. Again, now while doing so, if the learner is consuming more of videos than blogs, then it will start recommending more videos. So this is how the AI engine learns from the user pattern. That is one thing. The second thing is that our AI engine is also going to help the in-house SMEs, the SMEs within the organization, to auto-curate content from various sources from where we crawl the content. So for example, if the SME wanted that I want learners to learn about digital thinking, the SME is not completely dependent on the internal content of the organization. The AI engine can help the SME to curate great content and then make that available as a learning path to the learners. So the curator has the ability to mix and match the content from the organization and content which the AI engine has brought into the system, make a blended journey out of it, and then present it to the learner.
What are the futuristic tools and technologies online L&D e-learning solution providers are looking at?
I think the future is already here. I mean, I'm sure most of the L&Ds are now going towards the concept of having a lean setup, but having an effective setup. And that means that LXP has come at the helm. Josh Bersin has written about it. So, learning experience platform is a platform which can aggregate content from your LMS, from various content providers, the tacit knowledge your SMEs has is one part of it. The other part that I would like to really highlight for everyone on the call is a concept of learning in the flow of work. Nowadays, concept is that the learning should come when you are working rather than you going to the LMS. So imagine a world wherein you are working on MS PowerPoint or you are working in MS Teams, and you have an ability to consume content right there in that particular system rather than going out of the system and then opening a LMS or some other content provider. What if you are able to consume content sitting in MS Teams or while working with MS Word? And that is something that is a great enabler of learning, which is called learning in the flow of work. So that is a futuristic technology. Of course, it will become more better as we proceed, but that has already been done. There are like, for example, Edcast is anyways doing it, learning in the flow of work. And third thing I would say is, which is not futuristic, but I would say it's an enabler, is ability for the learner to learn anywhere, irrespective of the platform, it be web or mobile. If we are able to give a great learning experience to the learners, uh, they would like to consume content when they are free. uh, of course, we are not traveling nowadays, but if you are traveling, then of course an ability to do an offline course and then just connect to the world once you are back online. So all this learning experience will enhance the learning abilities.
Bhavin, I found the slide that you had sent on benefits of Edcast LXP, that is unified discovery and search, real-time performance support. So you have listed out 12, 14 benefits of LXP in general. So can you very quickly go through these benefits and explain it to the audience who are connected to this webinar?
Certainly, certainly. Yes. So, see the benefits of Edcast LXP again,
Or
we have
for that matter, it can be any generic LXP,
LXP. Correct,
whatever you
correct.
have listed here. It's a very generic benefit of different
LXP.
LXPs that are there. Yeah.
Correct. See,
So one by
by
one,
the
you can
name,
kindly explain them.
sure. See, the name suggests that LXP is a learning experience platform, which means it has an enhanced way for the learners to experience learning, and that is either on web or on mobile. So that is the top feature. I mean, it has to be intuitive for anybody to log into the system and just consume the content as he or she wishes to. That is one thing, which is ease of use. The second thing is that any LXP uh, ideally should enable the learner to search content within the organization and outside of the organization. So, as again, I was sharing an example. If today I wanted to know about, let's say, COVID situation, if I search for COVID, LXP should tell me that here is internal content which tells you how to be safe while working for a particular organization. And then it should also tell me a generic uh, article where there is a generic of being safe. LXP should enable the learners search content with utmost ease and relevancy. And the third is, LXP should create culture of continuous learning, which is pull based and not push based, which means rather than L&D telling you that this is what you should do, it should enable the learner to come more and more on the platform and start pulling more content as per the wish of what he or she wants to learn, of course, in the context of the organization, but also in the context of personal aspirations. Today, I am Vice President of Client Success. Uh, yes, the business would want me to do courses and content which is related to client success, or maybe perhaps in the further role, they want me to also learn about, let's say, for example, the financial aspect of the project. So that I'll do anyways because that's a business requirement. But as an individual, I'm also interested in learning about blockchain, which are two different worlds. But the LXP should be able to help me learn both the worlds, uh, and that should enable the pool learning. So I would like to highlight these three features, which are more common, and that's what I wanted to say. How LXP is beneficial to academics? It is very beneficial. In fact, NASCOM, as part of their initiative, are working with many academics where they rolled out a platform called Future Skills NASCOM. And it helps the academies to come on board where the students have an ability to learn about the future technologies like 3D printing, AI, big data, etc. So, of course, LXP does play an important role in academia also.
Say thanks to Bhavin for his time. He has attended this meeting despite, I will say, some pressing engagement, professional engagement. Thank you, Bhavin, for that.